CQDX, CQDX, CQDX. This is Radio Havana calling all shortwave listeners and radio amateurs. Welcome to... DXers Unlimited, Radio Havana's weekly feature dedicated to the fascinating world of radio communications. Hi, amigos radio aficionados aboard planet Earth and orbiting it too from the ISS. I am Arnaldo Ernicoro, radio amateur CO2KK, your friend here in sunny La Havana, Cuba. I'm the host of this twice-weekly radio hobby program, specially prepared to help to promote and develop this wonderful hobby, yours and mine, radio. And now here's item one of today's show. The very popular here antenna topic section up front with an update of yet another antenna that has been promoted as ideal for installations where space is at a premium. The antenna advertised under the name TAC-10 is, according to the analysis done by yours truly and other experts, Antenna Enthusiast 2, is essentially a very short dipole with two wire spirals located at each end of the dipole elements to act as both inductive and capacitive loading at the same time of the extremely short dipole elements of the TAC-10. The wire spirals are just that, inductive and capacitive loading at the ends of the extremely short dipole elements. So they contribute practically nothing to radiating the signal because very little current circulates through them. Surprisingly, the TAC-10, as other similar ones, seems to work in actual practice, although antenna analysis software, even the most sophisticated and practical real-life tests, show that what is actually radiating a signal is the outer area of the braid of the coaxial cable running to the feed point of the TAC-10 and other similar ones. So, as one might expect, it is not as efficient as a full-size half-wave dipole at all. The fact is that using an antenna tuner and almost any length of antenna wire, an amateur radio station can put a signal on the air, can be heard, although it will always be at least 2 to 4 S units below the signal heard on a full-size half-wave dipole, at least at a half wavelength above the Earth. The efficiency depending, of course, on the length of and the way the coaxial cable downlink is routed from the transmitting and receiving equipment to the antenna, and also if you use a valve for adapting the antenna to the feed line. Now, while in the world an amateur radio operator would like to install an antenna system that will actually convert the typical 100-watt output transceiver into a 5-watt or less QRP or low-power rig, well, that's a question. The reasons involved in using such compact antennas in actual light with a very small footprint have to do with the space that one has available for installing antennas, and also about the very strict rules and regulations of present-day neighborhoods, especially apartment buildings. Other similar small antennas like the isotron that have been around for quite some time work on the similar principle of actually using a coaxial cable feed line outer shield of the brain, or a great part of it as the actual radiation element, with a quote-unquote antenna connected to it acting more or less as the top loading for the actual radiating element. That is, and I do insist on this, nothing else on the outer shield or braid of the coaxial cable feed line of the actual antenna of that system. Now, there are many options available if you are in a situation where space for installing a high-frequency antenna system is at a premium. And I must add that many of them can be a lot cheaper antenna, TAC-10, and the isotron and similar ones, with the added advantage, the bonus, that they can be assembled at home using common hand tools and will cost you practically nothing. Among those antennas that have a small footprint and are still much more efficient than the TAC-10, the isotron, and the infamous room cap, my favorite is the folded vertical monopole, using a set of 1/8 of a wavelength radials at least. And such an antenna, when designed to operate on the 20 meters amateur band, by the way, it is and will continue to be the most popular hand band for DXing around the world, will be easy to install, will match the 50 ohms coaxial cable feed line with a 1-to-1 standing ratio, while having a very low profile. So it can even be disguised very cleverly. Yes, you can disguise it very cleverly as a flagpole or as an artificial tree in your garden or patio. Just to give you an idea, a vertical folded monopole for the 20 meters amateur band can be as short as 4 meters or around 12 feet high. And if you install a set of 8 elevated radios or 16 ground radios of 2.66 meters or 8.6 feet long each, the efficiency of your antenna system will be practically the same as a full-size vertical with 64 quarter-wave radios, almost as perfect as that. Of course, you can also bury the radios at a depth of around 5 centimeters, that's about 2 inches, so they won't be seen and still provide you with a very good ground for radio frequency. Now, comparisons. Compare the cost of such an antenna with the price asked for a stack antenna, an isotron, or a room cap, and you will be quite surprised to realize how much you can save by homebrewing a vertical folded monopole, an antenna system that for obvious reasons is turning to be the new standard radiation antenna for the AM broadcast band stations around the world. It's the most economical option. If you want to know more about the vertical quarter-wave folded monopole antenna, explore the internet search engines using the word tuning pole. That's the commercial name of a popular antenna of this type used presently for AM broadcast stations. And now a short break for station ID, and then the Access Unlimited's Weekend Edition will continue in just a few seconds, amigos. I'm Ani Coro in La Habana, Cuba. Now here is item 2 of today's show. Ask Annie, la número uno, the most popular section of the Access Unlimited. Today the question came in from listeners of this program from India, Australia, New Zealand, Mexico, and the Cook Islands. They were receiving our 13,740 kilohertz frequency during the just finished spring equinoctial propagation season. They want to know more about why twice every year our station can be heard so well at their locations, and once that 3 to 6 week period is over, the spring equinoctial DX season, then it is very difficult to pick up Radio Havana Cuba down there. Amigos, let me start by saying that at this moment we are not broadcasting to Asia and the Pacific regions, and that when the spring and autumn equinoctial periods do occur, there is a noticeable enhancement of the signals of our station, and as a matter of fact, of all high-frequency broadcasting stations around the world. But as soon as the equinoctial period is over, we return to normal propagation conditions all over the world, and you will have to wait until the next equinox to receive Radio Havana Cuba again with such good signals in Australia, India, New Zealand, the Pacific Islands, etc. At Ask Annie, I have a scanner that tunes to the VHF low band from 30 to 50 megahertz, and it can be programmed for up to 200 channels. What frequency would be the best ones to program on that scanner in order to have an immediate alert when there is sporadically opening in progress? Signed, your friend from Oklahoma, USA, Belinda. Well, amiga Belinda, thank you very much for writing. I must do your homework first and manually search for stations using that frequency range located at different distances from your home. First thing to do is to identify the local and near local signals and simply don't program them on your scanner. Whenever there is an opening, scan the 30 to 50 megahertz segment and keep a record of the frequencies. Write it down, frequencies heard, and try to identify from where they come from. For example, here in Havana, reception from several stations from Chile that broadcast background continuous music without any advertisements used to be the best indicators of band openings. It usually led to later night 6 meter band amateur contacts for me. The FM stations around 48 megahertz broadcasting from Chile, that type of so-called elevator music or music, are easy to identify, and you know from where they come by rotating the antenna to 170 degrees azimuth where you get a peak, here in Havana, of course. And now, at the end of the show, a very short propagation update and forecast, because this program was recorded 2 days in advance due to work commitments in order to prepare for the upcoming hurricane season that starts on June the 1st. Don't forget to take a little time and send me your comments about the show to info.rhc@enet.cu. Again, info.rhc@enet.cu, or via airmail to Anicoro, Radio Havana Cuba, Havana, Cuba. And that's all for today. This is Arnie Coro, Radio Amateur CO2KK, your host here at Radio Havana's DXS Unlimited, saying 73 and very good DX.
Thanks, Arnie. Arnie Corro